Vítejte u dnešního videa. Tentokrát vám chci představit nový koncept videa, a to rozhovor. Prvním hostem mého Ferin interview byl Felix a rozhovor je v angličtině. Obsahuje proto české titulky. Dejte mi prosím do komentářů vědět, jestli se vám tento typ videí líbí a jestli by měly vycházet i další díly. Díky moc. Okay, Felix, so can you introduce yourself to my fans?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Felix. I'm known on kind of YouTube as Felix's Space Time. I interview valued members of the space community in the space industry and try to do my best I can answer other people's questions that they have for them. So I have other people's questions and then my own questions, and I hope to get as many answers, many questions answered as possible in every interview. Yeah, that's me. I interview valued members of the space community.
Okay, so your channel is like 1 year old, and you made very interesting interviews with many people in space industry. So how did you feel when you interviewed an astronaut?
Well, I've only interviewed about 4 or 5 astronauts now. But the first ever person I interviewed who was an astronaut, that was 𝐙𝐃𝐑𝐿. She was an astronaut who went to the ISS on the shuttle. When I first got that interview, I was really excited and I was ready. I had all my questions and everything. But as it kind of came up to the interview, maybe a couple of hours beforehand, I got quite worried that stuff could go wrong, because it was only my 3rd or 4th interview I'd done. So I was getting worried that things could go wrong. That my questions weren't very good. When she joined the Zoom call to start recording and everything, start the interview, and all that, being scared of the interview and being worried about it, all of that kind of worriedness went away, and I just got into the interview. But the more interviews I do nowadays, I've done about 50 or 60 interviews, I think. I'm not sure, but every day when I have an interview now, I'm not really scared of it. I just do it, and that's it. And I'm happy with the end result, whatever comes out of it.
Who do you interview in your dream interview? Who is the best person you want to interview?
Who I'd like to interview in the future?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I guess the typical answer to this question would be, Elon Musk. He's got, SpaceX. But I'd also like to interview people like the head of NASA, Bill Nelson, who'd be brilliant to interview. But kind of all these heads of industries, but also the people who aren't seen, on camera all the time. There's people who are actually out there in the factory building these rockets. I'd love to interview some kind of people like that. So the engineers who actually build these rockets, not just the people who oversee the building of the rockets or oversee the companies of the building.
When you interview people, you join to the Zoom call or Discord call or something like that. Do they say something about your age?
So whenever I send messages out to people to ask them to interview, I always let them know of my age, because sometimes when I haven't done that, it's come as a bit of a surprise to some people. But yeah, I let them know of my age and everything, and they're always happy to do an interview with me, whatever age I am. Obviously, I think most of the time they're very pleased that I'm doing this kind of thing at such a young age, and having all these people come on for interviews and all these people watching them.
Do you think Elon Musk is going to the Mars earlier than NASA or other government agencies?
I think the kind of competition is between kind of NASA and SpaceX mainly, but there are other companies doing things, obviously. But I think for SpaceX to get to the moon, to Mars, I think there will have to be kind of an element of NASA's involvement, so NASA astronauts maybe. But I think there could be a possibility that it is just completely one company like SpaceX. Having SpaceX astronauts on a SpaceX rocket, launching from a SpaceX launch pad. I think that is a possibility, but I definitely think there'll be an element of NASA in kind of that in the arranging of a mission to Mars.
Okay, so you think it will be like Crew Dragon missions to ISS with SpaceX gear, but NASA astronauts?
Yeah. So with a SpaceX rocket from a SpaceX launch pad, but with NASA astronauts, so there will always kind of be that involvement with NASA, because SpaceX is an American company and NASA oversees American exploration in space. So I definitely think there'll be kind of that involvement with whatever kind of company will go from America. I think there will be that involvement with NASA, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, what is your most favorite space mission of all time?
It's probably a very generic answer, but probably Falcon Heavy. So I didn't watch it live or anything. I wasn't kind of interested. I didn't really know much about space when I first went to Falcon Heavy launched. But the kind of thing that got me interested in space was the replay of the Falcon Heavy launch and kind of that double booster landing. That was kind of the inspiration for my interest in space. So I think the Falcon Heavy one, without Falcon Heavy, without that kind of launch, I wouldn't really have been interested in space, or I wouldn't have found space as interesting as I do at the moment. So I think the Falcon Heavy, that's a monumental mission for me.
What job do you want to do in future?
I'd like to go into engineering. So in September, I'm moving schools to study engineering. So from that, I'll take all my engineering skills and hopefully get a degree in engineering, kind of aeronautical, astronautical engineering, that kind of thing, and then work into the space industry.
Cool.
I think a lot of people who have become engineers to do with space have had that chance to go to space. So there's lots of engineers who go to the International Space Station. I think that could loop into one day maybe going to space, or one day maybe not.
The Inner Space Network. What is it? How would you describe it?
So the Inner Space Network is a group of young people who are writing articles, blog posts. On our website, we try to, so our kind of main goal, so our kind of end goal will be bringing the latest space news as soon as possible to in your email, to your inbox, or on social media, kind of bringing kind of as it happens, to kind of live coverage of things. So as a launch happens, you'll be getting updates like in real time, that kind of thing. I think that will be good. Like with NASA spaceflight, they've got their live cams, something like that. So
okay, so in your ISN team are people from all around the world, like Jan Mrňa, who is from Slovakia, or Nupur, who is from India. Yes, and
yeah.
It's hard to manage your worldwide team.
Yeah, so we have a lot of people. So we've got about 10 or 15 people in our team. We're always looking for new blog writers, that kind of thing. So we have people, like you said, in India and Slovakia. We've got, I think 2 or 3 in America, another one in England. So we have quite a few people from all around the world. So it is quite hard sometimes kind of coordinating with time zones. That can be quite difficult sometimes. But thankfully, if I'm up nice and early in the morning, at about 9 or 10, around that kind of time, most people are awake. So it's kind of easier to sort things out in the morning, kind of get these time zone layouts done. So it's easier to have a plan of, how it's easier to control and manage everything, kind of when everyone's awake, and kind of having this mix of time zones.
Yes. Okay. Are you still searching people to your team?
Pardon? Am I still looking for people to join the team?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're always looking for blog writers. We're looking for a live stream host at the moment to host live streams of launches, of dockings, of splashdowns, all that kind of thing. Yeah, so you can sign up on our website to become a blog writer or whatever you'd like to be.
Okay, so you're making a podcast on ISN?
Yeah, we had podcasts going with 2 people, which was really good. And then it kind of started to slow down. We haven't had a few episodes in a couple of months, but we're kind of looking for another podcast host to kind of restart, rekindle this kind of podcast, because they were really good. Lots of people watched it and listened to it, and lots of people thought it was good. That's something we'd like to restart in the future.
Felix, thank you for coming to my interview.
It was great coming on here. You had some brilliant questions.
A já bych vám chtěl poděkovat za zhlédnutí dnešního videa. Felixův YouTube kanál i Twitter najdete stejně jako stránku Inner Space Network v popisku pod videem. Pokud se vám video líbilo, budu moc rád za like a sdílení, pokud ne, tak můžete dát i ten dislike, akorát, že ho nikdo neuvidí, takže z toho nic moc mít nebudete. Mějte se a u dalšího videa zatím čau!